Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today we're doing a full face, I keep saying face, a full face of glam makeup using a couple of new products from Sephora that I picked up. Super excited to dive in and try these products with you. Really excited to test out the House Labs foundation. I got the shade Light Medium Neutral 280, so we're gonna give this a try. I also picked up the new concealer from Milk Makeup. I picked up the shade 11C, so we're gonna give this guy a try. I also grabbed a new bronzer from LYS. The shade's a little dark, but I can make it work, and I'm gonna show you how. I picked up a new brow product from Lawless. This is the Hold Up Soft Set Creamy Brow Wax. It sounded really interesting to me, so we're gonna try that. And then I got a new palette, which is so fun. This is the Too Faced Born This Way, the Natural Nudes. This is what it looks like. I mean, it just looks stunning, so beautiful. I couldn't pass it up. All the shades are just like, every single shade here is like my jam. So we're gonna do a full look of glam with this palette. All right, you guys. Oh, and we're also gonna be talking about my new favorite mascara. If you follow me on any other platform besides from YouTube, and actually I've talked about this on YouTube, but the Tower 28 mascara, oh, so good. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't have any makeup on my face right now. We're gonna start first with the foundation. Before we dive in, let me read you kind of the benefits and all the call outs from Sephora's website. So this foundation delivers a natural finish. It is a Clean at Sephora brand. It has medium coverage. It is long wearing. It's hypoallergenic. It says it's weightless. It's fermented with arnica that reduces redness, helps even out skin tone, and protects from environmental stresses. The coverage is medium, which I like. Let's see if it's buildable to a full coverage. I typically don't need more than a medium coverage anyway. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I do love the bottle. I think the bottle is stunning and beautiful. It's a heavy weighted frosted glass bottle. So pretty. I'm gonna do one pump. I can tell right off the bat that this color is perfect for me. This is the consistency of the foundation. You can see that it's lightweight. It's lightweight enough that it's sliding down my hand, but it does have some substance to it. It's not really watery. Okay, so we are going to grab a foundation brush. What do I have? I have a clean 106 here. We're gonna just start by pressing this into the center of the face. This has like a serum kind of vibe to me. It feels almost like a serum foundation. Really lightweight, blends really easily. So they said the finish is natural, which natural to me is kind of right between that dewy and that matte finish, right? It's not either of the two, just looks like natural skin. Okay, so this shade is actually a little darker than I thought. It does work for me. I can blend it in for sure, but it definitely has more warmth to it and a little bit deeper tone to it than I thought. Blends out so easily. It actually looks more dewy to me than I thought that it would look. It has a very glowy kind of radiant finish to it. I mean, I haven't allowed it time to set, so once it sets, that might change, but right off the bat, it almost feels like a skincare foundation hybrid. It has a slight little bit of tackiness to it. It feels like skincare. That's how it feels. I'm gonna go in and add a little bit more just to build a tiny bit more coverage. I'm gonna do about half a pump. I mean, really just a little bit right there. And I'm actually gonna take my finger and I'm gonna apply it in the areas that I wanna build coverage. I can tell that this foundation gives me some time to work with. It's not one of those foundations that like dries really quickly. So for that reason, I'm able to kind of apply it with my finger and then go back in with my brush to blend. Oh yeah, that gave a little bit more coverage. So pretty, very radiant finish. Before I set it with powder, I'm gonna apply concealer so I can see how it starts to set on its own. Oh, it's so pretty. Look at that. I mean, it looks so glowy, doesn't it? I definitely feel like this leans a little bit more radiant than natural to me. It's pretty though. Okay, so we're going to let that sit for a second. Next, we're gonna go in with the concealer. And again, I got the shade 11C. Let's kind of recap what the concealer's benefits are before we get into application. This concealer is described to have a natural finish. It's also described as being very hydrating, offering medium coverage. It's a Clean at Sephora brand and it's formulated without silicones. About this product, it's a multi-use medium to full coverage concealer that covers, sculpts, and hydrates for a lightweight, crease-proof natural finish. Let's go right in here. I love the component of it. It's nice, short, and chubby. So this is the shade 11C, and I do think this is gonna be the perfect shade for me. This is gonna also add some brightness compared to the foundation. So I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna apply it right in the inner corner, and then I'm gonna kind of pull it up here to give a little bit of lift. Okay, the texture feels very creamy and hydrating. Let's see how this blends out. Great coverage. Really nice coverage. I didn't use much and I'm getting all the coverage that I need. And that is a perfect shade for me. Really nice shade. Okay, I kind of love that. That looks really good. Love, love that. Okay, the true test is how does this wear, right, throughout the day. I'm gonna apply a little bit more in the inner corner here. It has a very creamy texture to it. And it's like, not like a real thin concealer. Like you can feel there is some texture to it. I don't wanna say it's heavy, but it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Rich, if that's the right word. Just feels like a nice rich formula. This formula would be really good to blend out with a dense concealer brush or even like a beauty sponge because it's a little thicker in consistency. You can use something a bit more dense. That looks nice. Okay, I'm gonna kind of take whatever's left, blend it out onto my lid. Okay, that's really pretty. Great coverage. So I still am seeing quite a bit of radiance from the foundation. I'm gonna go and apply bronzer, and then I will apply a cream blush, and then I'm gonna go in and set everything with powder. I'm gonna wait until I finish applying all my cream products before I go in with powder though. So we're gonna go in with the LYS bronzer stick. I have this shade No Limits Harmony, and it's quite a bit, it's a little bit too deep for me, but that's okay. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna make this work for me, even though it's a little bit dark. I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna use, what do I have here? I'm gonna use the BK Beauty 101 brush, and I'm just going to go from the product to my brush. Just kind of press it onto the brush. This is a really pigmented product, so you don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. And then I'm just gonna start by blending that into the skin. Do you see how dark that is? So I'm actually gonna take whatever's left, and we're gonna do both sides with that. I'm gonna come back over here and kind of evenly distribute that color. Oh, it's so pretty. The formula is really nice. Super creamy, very pigmented, but it blends out so easily. So a little bit of this goes a long way. I'm still learning how to apply this. The first time I applied it straight to the skin, and I was able to blend it out. I had to go back in with my foundation to kind of soften some areas because I wasn't expecting it to be so dark for me, but it worked, which is really nice because I definitely should have gone a shade lighter, but even though I didn't, I'm able to make this one work. Oh, so good. Do you see that? Okay, and then I'm gonna kind of take whatever's left and blend it down to my jawline. Next, I'm gonna go and apply a cheek color, and I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills blush stick in the shade Peachy Keen. I've been raving about the shade Latte for a couple weeks now, and I haven't showed you guys what Peachy Keen looks like, so we're gonna go in with that one. And I'm just gonna go from the product to the cheeks and just kind of layer and build just the amount of color I want. This is a really pretty peachy shade. Doesn't have any shimmer or pearlescent, but because we're doing this glowy situation, I'm still gonna get that highlight. We just got back from the beach yesterday. We went to Mexico for our 15-year wedding anniversary, and we had such a great time. We stayed in, we flew into Cancun, and we stayed at the Rosewood Mayakoba Resort, which is so nice. Like, I was blown away with that resort. Paul just booked everything, and it was kind of a last-minute trip for us, and I was so busy leading up to it that I didn't even really take the time to research the place or look up the place, and when we showed up, it was like the best surprise. I was like, oh my gosh, this place is so nice. Okay, next we're gonna go in and set everything. I definitely feel the need to set with powder. For me, this foundation is definitely leaning more radiant than natural, but I'm gonna go with the Bobbi Brown loose powder, and we are just gonna set, really focus on the center of the face, but maybe slightly set right around the cream products as well, since I did work with a lot of cream products today. And I'm taking a big, large, fluffy brush and really working that into the lid just so I don't go and apply too much powder because I still want a little bit of radiance. I don't want to completely mattify everything. So I'm just gonna lightly set. This concealer is so nice. All right, so that definitely set everything, put it in place, but I still have some glow happening here, so it's perfect, the perfect balance. Okay, next let's put some brows on. I feel like my skin is flawless now and I need some eyebrows. So I'm gonna go in with the Benefit Volumizing Pencil, volumizing, and I'm gonna just first comb my brows in place with a little spoolie, and then we're gonna go and fill in. Next, I'm gonna go in with this brow wax from Lawless Beauty. So it's a tiny little wand. The color looks pretty light and transparent to me. Let's see how this performs. It's a brow wax, which is interesting. Ooh, apparently it helped put them in place. It's a very light brow wax, so it doesn't feel like sticky or waxy, but I can see how the hairs are laying down. Ooh, okay, I like that. Okay, this would be really great for those of you that have very long, unruly brows because it definitely has a bit more of a waxy texture to it than like her traditional brow gel, but it's not sticky or thick. It's a lightweight wax. Very nice. Okay, next I'm gonna go ahead and apply a little bit of eye primer on the lid, and then we're gonna dive into this palette. So I'm gonna dive in here to this shade right here. It's called Seashell, and it is basically like a little bit pinker than my skin tone and like one shade darker. It's pretty light, but we're gonna start with that as the crease color. Sometimes I find that shades always translate a little bit different on skin tone than they do in the palette. Like for example, this one is paying off a lot deeper than it looks in the palette. So I'm really glad I started with this one and I didn't go with something too deep. Ooh, that's pretty. So it actually leans a little bit more peach than it looks in the palette. It looks more pink, but on me it looks more peach. Okay, that is so pretty and very pigmented, blends out beautifully. Oh, I like that. Okay, next I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna take this shade right here. It's called Warm Rose, and it's a pink shade. And we're gonna kind of just apply that in the outer corner. That went on really, really pigmented, so I'm gonna be kind of careful that I don't apply too much. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. This palette is beautiful, you guys. And the pigment is just like really, really nice. Great quality. I mean, you just barely tap your brush and you get a lot of pigment payoff. And it's very smooth and consistent. So far I've only used the mattes, but they're very nice and smooth and beautiful. I mean, it couldn't get better. I really couldn't ask for a better matte than this. Okay, next I want to apply a shimmer shade and I want to mix it up. I'm gonna do this shade right here. It's called Sparkling Rum. I'm gonna pick it up here with my finger. All right, so it's a little bit lighter than I expected it to be. I expected it to be a little like heavier shimmer, and it actually looks kind of light. Like I'm really kind of digging in here and then I'm getting some good payoff. So I'm gonna use my finger to apply it. Ooh, that's pretty. And I'm just gonna pack it right in on the lid, right there in the center. Let's see how this pays off with the brush. I'm gonna switch to a brush on the other eye and we're gonna see if it's better with the brush or better with your finger. Okay, so I would say if you want a high impact payoff, use your finger. It definitely pays off with a brush, but it's not quite the same. If you want that high metallic, like frosty payoff that you see in the palette, use your finger to apply it and you'll get that. Yeah, do you see? That is so pretty. Next, I'm gonna switch to this shade right here. It's called Rose Gold. It's a little bit lighter, and we are going to use a brush to apply that because I just wanna kind of bring the shimmer over to the inner corner, but I don't want it to be too heavy. So beautiful, so pretty. Okay, next I'm gonna go back in with my large crease brush, and I'm gonna take whatever's on it, and I'm gonna bring it over all the way in and kind of work it into the brow. So I have like this like soft, like diffusion of color up there. Next, I'm gonna go into the shade Coco right here, and it's a little bit deeper, and I'm gonna take a little small flat eyeshadow brush, and I'm just gonna pack it right out here on the outer corner on both sides, and then I'm gonna go in with the blending brush and blend that out. So I'm using this brush to place, but then I'm gonna use a blending brush to blend out. So pretty, okay. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You can see it's still a little messy. Then I'm just gonna take my brush and go in little circles to blend it out. Perfect. Oh, that is so pretty. Okay, next I'm gonna take these matte shades and I'm gonna kind of smoke out the lower lash line. And we're actually gonna go in and start with Warm Rose, which is the like mid-tone one we started with. And I'm gonna take this little tiny eyeshadow brush. This is the A504 from the Angie Hot and Flashy collection. And I'm just gonna run this on the outer corner inward. This brush is nice because it is, even though it's like a blending brush, it's pretty like dense and stiff for a blending brush, so it works well for lower lash line. It's more of like a brush to apply precise color, but still be able to blend it out. So it's not super stiff like a small shader brush. It's like a stiff, small blending brush. Then I'm gonna go with the shade Coco, which is the darkest shade, and we're going to build that right on the outer corner and go inward. Perfect. I'm even gonna take the darkest shade right here. It's called Truffle, and we're gonna get a tiny bit of that and pop that right on the exterior outer corner. Perfect. And then whatever's left on my brush, I'm gonna blend it in the outer corner on top too. So pretty. Then I'm gonna go back with my Bobbi Brown loose powder. This is like a light, like yellow translucent powder. And I'm going to take this, and this is just gonna clean up any fallout. It's also going to kind of clean up and make that, you know, eye makeup just real crisp and clean. And then I'll just apply this anywhere else I feel like I need a little extra setting. Okay, so I've curled lashes. I've put a little bit of lash primer on. I'm gonna go in with this mascara. This is the like greatest find for me as of recently. I love this mascara. Watch how amazing it is. So it's a Clean at Sephora brand, It's ophthalmologist tested. It's great for sensitive eyes, which I definitely have. I mean, do you see that? Like, that is amazing. Is that not amazing? That is with little effort. It doesn't matter how much I build, it doesn't clump. It's a great lengthening and curling and volumizing mascara. So it does all the things. Gives length, volume, and lifts the lashes. I always still curl my lashes because that just, you know, gives the extra curl. But this mascara really keeps them lifted all day. It is so good. It does not like smudge or flake or transfer. I'll put a little bit of this on when I work out in the mornings, but I definitely don't layer it like this. I'll just do it like the slightest coat, kind of just to darken my lashes more than anything. And I sweat a ton in my workouts and I never have issues with it transferring on my lid or anything. Now keep in mind, I'm not layering it like I'm layering it right now, but I still get really sweaty and it doesn't budge. I mean, look at that mascara. It is amazing. I also like the wand because it's nice and thin, so it's great for your lower lashes. You don't really make a mess with it. It's very easy to control. So pretty. So I'm loving the cheeks, but I want to add a little bit more color. I want to kind of play with the color in my eyes. So I'm going to grab this blush from LYS. This is the shade Self Love. It's a really beautiful, like berry tone shade. And I'm going to use the same brush I used for my bronzer. And I'm just going to apply it right on the apples of my cheek and blend up. So beautiful. This is a cream blush, so it has a little bit of that radiance to it. The color stays all day. I love this. I took this with me to Mexico and I was wearing this while we were there. What I love about this blush is you can really build it. Like you can get a very natural sheer look, or you can build it if you want a little more color. I like to build it to a kind of moderate level. I want you to see the color, but I don't want to go overboard. So last we are on lips. I'm loving this look. I feel like I need a little bit of an inner rim brightener. So let me see what we have here. I'm gonna go in with this from Charlotte Tilbury just to brighten the inner rim up a bit. Anytime I'm doing something kind of more on the glamorous side, I feel like you cannot skip this step. So nice. Okay, so for lips, I'm going to use the new Dior lipsticks that are transfer proof. This is the shade Forever Nude Look. These have like a soft matte finish to them, and you can layer them if you want more color. So pretty. So last, I do want to highlight my brow. I completely forgot about that. What I love about this palette is it really does have everything you need. You have a brow highlight, you have a couple of transition shades, and you've got plenty of options for your like pop of color on the lid. I'm gonna go with this shade right here. It's called Swan, and it's just a matte bone shade, kind of vanilla shade, much lighter than my skin tone, but I'm using a fluffy brush to apply it. That way it's not too stark. That's a good highlight color because it's bright enough, but it's not like blinding. And that wraps up this video. Okay, let's recap on a couple of new products that I tried today. So the House Labs Foundation, I'm really excited to wear this throughout the day and report back to you guys on how it wore throughout the day. It gives a very beautiful, radiant glow. It's described as a natural finish, but for me, it really was pretty radiant. So if you have dry skin, I think this is a definite give this foundation a try. I'm excited to report back. I love the bottle. I love the way that it feels. It's very lightweight. It blended into the skin really easily, and the coverage is like the perfect medium coverage. Okay, the concealer, the Milk Makeup Concealer. I like this. Really, really nice. I did set it with some powder, but I haven't had any issues with the concealer creasing. It does claim to be a crease-proof mascara. Typically when I apply mascaras, I can kind of tell within the first like 20 minutes if it's gonna move or migrate, and this one, not at all. This shade is perfect. It's 11C. It gives enough coverage, but it brightens for me as well. The texture of this, I would say, is not like thick. It's like a thick, creamy emollient texture. So it's very emollient and creamy, so it blends out easily, but it's not a sheer concealer. This does have like a nice, rich texture to it. Blends out easily. I love this. I will definitely continue to use this over the weeks to come. Okay, and the brow wax. Really like this product. It's very unique in a lot of ways. When you first look at it, it does look like a brow wax, like a brow gel, like a typical brow gel, but it has this lightweight, waxy texture to it, and it really does a good job of putting the brows in place without looking stiff or too hard. They still have a very soft look to them. The LYS bronzer. I love this product. This is a phenomenal cream bronzer, super pigmented. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the lighter shade, but again, I've been able to make this one work for me. It's very pigmented, very creamy, super easy to blend. I would probably, even when I get the lighter, I would probably go from brush to product to apply it that way versus, you know, putting it on my face, because I have a feeling that it's easy to apply too much of this just with how creamy and rich this product and pigmented this product is, but very, very good job, LYS. Love this blush by LYS, this color, Self Love. I think it's just the perfect, pretty, like berry shade. You can build it to get more color. I think it works for a variety of skin tones, even if you're lighter than me or deeper than me. You can customize the payoff and color from this blush. It's really pretty. And this palette, I love this palette. The mattes are just like so good. The shimmers are really nice too. You gotta apply them with your finger though if you want a high impact payoff. But I love the shade range. I can see myself hitting pan on all of these mattes at some point. Definitely gonna keep this on my vanity and go to it, whether I create a full look from this palette or I use a lot of the transition shades in here and mix with other palettes. This is beautiful. All right, you guys, that wraps up this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thanks for sticking around with me. If you're still here, let me know down below. Thank you to Sephora for partnering with me on this video. It's always a pleasure to partner with my favorite brands and retailers to shop with. So thank you, Sephora. I will have all the products listed and linked for you down below. I hope you have a beautiful day and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.